There is a silent trap that robs more people of their joy than poverty, disease, or even failure. It does not strike suddenly like a thunderstorm. It creeps in quietly, like a shadow stretching across the floor at dusk. Most do not see it. Most do not name it. But they feel it in the restless hours of the night when sleep will not come, in the envy they feel when scrolling through other people's lives, in the gnawing dissatisfaction that whispers, "You should be further along by now." This silent trap is comparison, and make no mistake, comparison is not harmless. It is not innocent. It is the thief of happiness, the destroyer of peace, the enemy of gratitude. It masquerades as motivation, but in truth, it poisons the soul and leaves the heart empty. You cannot live your life fully while staring constantly at someone else's. You cannot water your garden while coveting another's field, and yet millions are caught in its net every single day. The lie begins early. We are taught to measure ourselves against classmates, to rank ourselves by grades, by popularity, by the labels on our clothes. And so the seed is planted. As we grow, the comparisons grow with us. Who has the better job? The larger home? The more attractive partner? The louder applause? What few realize is that comparison is not about measuring reality. It is about measuring illusions. The neighbor you envy hides his debts. The colleague you admire fights battles you never see. The stranger on the screen has mastered only one thing, the art of disguise. And yet, believing these illusions, you feel less. You feel small. You feel late. But here is the truth no one tells you. When you measure your life against another's, you are not living your life at all. You are living a shadow. You are chasing smoke. Comparison feeds another dangerous illusion, the belief that happiness is a finish line to be crossed once certain conditions are met. I will be happy when I earn this much. I will be fulfilled when I have this title. I will be enough when I look like that. But when those milestones arrive, they are never enough. The goalpost shifts, the hunger grows, and happiness remains just out of reach, like a horizon you can see but never touch. The silent trap steals joy in the present and promises it only in the future, a future that never arrives. And so millions live suspended between envy and dissatisfaction, always comparing, never arriving. The law is simple. Comparison kills contentment. Write it down, say it out loud. Comparison kills contentment. But how do we escape? The first step is awareness. You must see the trap before you can walk around it. The next time you feel envy rise, pause, ask yourself, am I comparing my behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel? More often than not, the answer is yes. Your struggles are visible to you, but theirs are hidden. Your scars are on your skin, but theirs are beneath their shirt. This is why comparison is so destructive. It pits your whole truth against their partial truth, and the match is rigged from the start. To break free, you must remind yourself daily, my race is mine, my journey is mine, my timing is mine. If you believe this, declare it now. Write it in the comments. I am running my own race. There is a second step, equally vital. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison. It shifts the mind from scarcity to abundance, from envy to peace. Tonight, before you sleep, write down 3 blessings that are already present in your life. Do not dismiss them as small. The roof over your head, the food on your table, the breath in your lungs. What you take for granted, someone else is praying for. Gratitude magnifies what you have and blinds you to what you lack. And the more you practice it, the stronger the shield against envy becomes. Gratitude is not passive, it is armor. Wear it daily. But here's the challenge. You will be tested. Tomorrow, when you open your phone, you will see a friend who seems richer. You will hear of someone younger who seems further. You will encounter the illusion again, and in that moment you must choose. Will you walk into the trap again, or will you stand free? Your happiness depends on that choice. No one can make it for you. The silent trap is always open, but so is the path of freedom. And freedom begins with this law. Do not compare your chapter 1 to another person's chapter 20. Say it with me. Write it down. Do not compare your chapter 1 to another person's chapter 20. Understand this? Nature does not compare the rose to the oak tree, the river to the mountain, the eagle to the lion. Each fulfills its design, each grows at its pace, each serves its purpose. The rose does not curse the oak for being taller. The oak does not envy the rose for its beauty. Only man invents this madness. Only man poisons his joy with what others are or are not. Your purpose is not to be like another. Your purpose is to be fully yourself. If you are an oak, you must grow tall. If you are a rose, you must bloom, but the moment you compare, you betray your design, and in that betrayal, happiness slips away. Some will resist this message. They will say, "But comparison motivates me." Do not be deceived. True motivation comes from vision, not envy. When you are driven by comparison, your energy is borrowed, your focus is scattered, and your joy is conditional. But when you are driven by vision, your energy is pure, your focus is sharp, and your joy is steady. The greatest achievers in history did not rise because they compared themselves to others. They rose because they saw a vision of what they themselves could be and pursued it with discipline. That is the way of the free man. That is the way of the truly happy man. So I challenge you tonight, take out a notepad and write one sentence. I choose gratitude over comparison. Write it slowly, say it aloud, repeat it until it sinks in. Then write this declaration and hold it close. I am free from comparison. I am rich in gratitude. I am happy in my own season. This is not just a phrase, it is a law of freedom, and if you practice it daily, the silent trap will lose its hold. Your eyes will open to the abundance already around you. Your heart will find peace in the present, and your happiness once stolen will return to where it belongs within you. But there is another layer to this silent trap that few ever recognize, and it may be the most destructive of all. Comparison does not merely rob you of happiness, it convinces you to play a game you can never win. When you measure yourself against others, you are fighting battles on fields that were never yours. You are racing in a race that was never meant for you. Imagine a fish judging itself by how well it climbs a tree, or a bird envying the speed of a cheetah. Both are absurd, yet this is exactly what millions do every day. They compare their gifts to another's. They compare their timing to another's. They compare their private struggles to another's public triumphs. And in doing so, they surrender their peace. They surrender their dignity. They surrender their very identity to a contest without rules, without fairness, without end. The greatest danger of comparison is not simply the unhappiness it breeds. The greatest danger is that it blinds you to your own uniqueness. Each human being is born with a pattern, like a fingerprint, that has never existed before and will never exist again. To measure that against another is to deny its worth. No man can become Shakespeare. No woman can become Da Vinci. No child can become Einstein, and yet each can become the fullest expression of their own design. When you forget this, you chase shadows. When you remember this, you discover freedom. So write this law where you will see it each morning. I will not trade my uniqueness for imitation. Say it out loud now. Let it sink into your bones and commit it to memory. For the man who knows his uniqueness cannot be shaken by another's applause, and he cannot be broken by another's criticism. But here's the trap's cruelest twist. It convinces you to rush your own timing. When you see someone else achieve a dream, you panic. You say to yourself, I am behind, I am late, I should be there already. And so you push, you force, you grasp for results before you are ready. But what happens to fruit picked before it is ripe? It spoils. What happens to foundations laid in haste? They crack. What happens to a life built on impatience? It collapses. The timing of your life is not random, it is precise. But when you compare, you interfere with the process. You uproot the seed before it has taken root. You sabotage your own harvest. Remember this truth. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. Delay is strength in disguise. Repeat that. Write it. Engrave it in your heart. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. This is why some of the most remarkable lives did not blossom until later. Consider the writer who struggled in obscurity until his 40s, the artist who painted unnoticed until her 50s, the leader who was dismissed until his 60s. They were not late. They were ready when they were meant to be ready. But comparison would have told them to quit long before. If you find yourself doubting your season, pause. Take a deep breath and say this law aloud. I am right on time. Write it in the comments if you believe it. I am right on time. For nothing is more liberating than this realization. Your life is unfolding at the speed of your own growth, not faster, not slower, but perfectly. Now let us speak of the subtle enemy that fuels comparison, impatience. Impatience whispers, if it hasn't happened by now, it never will. But impatience is a liar. Impatience is the mask of fear. It tells you that speed is the measure of worth. But ask yourself, is a marriage weaker because it blooms slowly? Is wisdom smaller because it is earned late? Is success diminished because it arrives after years of trial? No. In fact, the opposite is true. The longer the preparation, the deeper the roots. The longer the trial, the stronger the character. The longer the delay, the greater the appreciation when it arrives. Impatience builds anxiety. Patience builds power. Write that down. Repeat it. Impatience builds anxiety. Patience builds power. To escape impatience, you must give yourself the gift of presence. Presence is the practice of being fully engaged with this moment, not the imagined future, not the remembered past. When you are present, comparison loses its grip. You no longer ask, "Am I ahead?" You ask, "Am I faithful to today?" And faithfulness to today is the only seed that guarantees fruit tomorrow. So here is your practical step. Each evening, write down one task you accomplished, however small, and one lesson you learned, however simple. Let this remind you that today was not wasted, today mattered, and when you stack enough days of presence, you build a life of substance. Comparison withers in the face of presence, because presence makes every moment complete. Some may say, "But if I stop comparing, how will I know if I'm progressing?" The answer is simple. You do not measure progress by the pace of others. You measure progress by alignment with your own vision. Your progress is not how you look beside another man. Your progress is how you look beside who you were yesterday. Did you grow? Did you learn? Did you stay true to your principles? That is the only scoreboard that counts. And the truth is this: if you are one step wiser than yesterday, you are winning. If you are one step kinder than yesterday, you are winning. If you are one step kinder than yesterday, you are winning. Write this law where you will see it daily. I compare myself only to who I was yesterday. Speak it, own it, live it. Understand this clearly. The silent trap thrives on invisibility. The less you notice it, the stronger it grows. But once you name it, once you expose it, it weakens. Just by listening to these words, you are already loosening its chains. Just by writing these laws, you are already setting yourself free. The enemy cannot survive the light, and comparison cannot survive gratitude, presence, and patience. The trap loses its grip when you choose to see through its illusion. The choice is yours. No one can make it for you. But if you choose, you will find that happiness is not far away. It has been waiting inside you all along. So let this be your declaration for today. I am free from the lies of comparison. I trust my timing. I honor my path. Say it aloud. Write it down. Make it yours. For when you live by this law, the silent trap collapses, the illusion disappears, and happiness flows back into your life. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. But there is another trap hidden within comparison, one even more subtle and more corrosive than impatience. It is the belief that your worth depends on what you produce, what you achieve, or how loudly the world applauds you. This belief ties your happiness to outcomes instead of identity. It makes you a slave to performance. When you succeed, you feel valuable. When you fail, you feel worthless. And so your peace rises and falls like a ship tossed by every wave of circumstance. This is the silent trap of conditional worth. It is not visible to the eye, but it seeps into the soul. It whispers, "You are only as good as your results." And millions live imprisoned by it, never realizing that true worth is not earned, it is inherent. Think carefully about this. When a child is born, is he worth less because he has accomplished nothing? Is she less valuable because she holds no titles, no wealth, no recognition? Of course not. We know intuitively that every life carries immeasurable value simply by existing. Yet as we grow, we forget. We begin to link our value to grades, to promotions, to numbers in a bank account, to approval from others. And when those things falter, as they always do, our confidence collapses with them. But here is the liberating truth. You do not need to prove your worth. You only need to express it. You are not a beggar hoping the world will confirm your value. You are a reservoir already filled. And once you believe this, you will move through life differently, calmer, stronger, freer. Write this declaration now. I am worthy without conditions. Say it aloud and let it sink in. I am worthy without conditions. Yet the culture around you does not want you to know this. Entire industries profit from your insecurity. They sell you products by convincing you that without them you are not enough. They sell you lifestyles by whispering that without them you are incomplete. They sell you identities by teaching you to measure your value by external symbols, cars, clothes, followers, fame. But the man who anchors his worth in possessions is building on sand. The woman who anchors her worth in recognition is chasing shadows. The only foundation strong enough to carry you through storms is this: your worth is non-negotiable. It does not rise with praise. It does not fall with criticism. It does not vanish with failure. It is fixed, eternal, untouchable. This is why some of the happiest people are not the richest, the most famous, or the most talented. They are the ones who discovered this law early, that joy flows not from outcomes but from identity. They do not tie their peace to applause. They do not anchor their self-respect to comparison. They know who they are, and so they move through life with quiet confidence. Think of the craftsman who works diligently, though few notice. Think of the mother who serves faithfully, though no spotlight shines. Think of the man who stands in integrity, though no one applauds. These are the ones who live free. Their happiness cannot be stolen because it was never for sale. But here is the danger. When you do not believe in your unconditional worth, you become desperate. You chase approval, you grasp for validation, you measure your life by reactions, and desperation is weakness. It makes you vulnerable to manipulation, to distraction, to despair. This is why the silent trap steals not just happiness, but power. For the man who doubts his worth will sell himself cheaply. The woman who doubts her worth will tolerate what she should never accept. And so the cycle deepens. But when you stand firm in your value, when you declare, "I am enough as I am," something remarkable happens. You stop chasing, you start living, you stop begging, you start building. So how do you practice this truth daily? Begin by writing this simple affirmation each morning. My worth is not earned, it is expressed. Let that sentence shape the way you approach the day. When you face criticism, remember, it cannot touch your identity. When you fail at a task, remember, it cannot reduce your essence. When you are overlooked, remember, you are still complete. This mindset is not arrogance, it is not complacency, it is clarity. It allows you to strive for excellence without becoming enslaved to it. It allows you to pursue goals with intensity without letting them define you. And in that balance lies real freedom. Consider this law carefully. You are not what you achieve, you are what you repeatedly choose. Achievements may come and go, but your choices, your integrity, your kindness, your persistence are who you truly are. Say it aloud. Write it down. You are not what you achieve, you are what you repeatedly choose. This law will guard you against the trap of conditional worth. For if you anchor your value in what you achieve, you will always be chasing the next trophy. But if you anchor your value in what you choose, your life becomes steady, grounded, and joyful regardless of circumstance. Some will resist this truth. They will say, if I stop measuring my worth by achievement, won't I lose my drive? But the opposite is true. The most driven people are not those enslaved by insecurity. They are those who know they are complete, and so they can create boldly. Fear does not fuel them. Freedom does. Anxiety does not propel them. Vision does. They are not chasing worth. They are expressing it. And that is why their work resonates deeply, why their lives carry weight, why their happiness endures. Do not be deceived. Slavery to comparison is not strength. It is weakness in disguise. So here is your challenge for tonight. Take out a piece of paper and list 5 qualities that make you valuable which have nothing to do with achievement. Perhaps it is your compassion, your discipline, your creativity, your honesty, your resilience. Write them down and read them slowly. Then write this declaration beneath them. I am enough without proving anything, and say it aloud until it no longer feels foreign, until it feels like truth. For that is exactly what it is. Truth, eternal, liberating, unshakable truth. This is the law that will guard your happiness from the silent trap. Your worth is fixed and unconditional. The world may ignore it, but it cannot erase it. The world may question it, but it cannot diminish it. The world may try to sell you lies, but they cannot replace it. Say it now. Let it echo in your mind and commit it to memory. I am worthy without conditions. This is the foundation of happiness. This is the armor against comparison. This is the law that frees you to live boldly, to love deeply, and to walk through life without fear. But there is still another mask the silent trap wears, and it may be the most common of all. It is the mask of perfection. The world whispers to you that unless your life looks flawless, you are failing. It tells you that every misstep, every scar, every delay is evidence that you are less than others. And so you begin to hide your flaws, you bury your struggles, you cover your wounds. You smile when you feel broken, you pretend when you feel lost. You project strength while crumbling inside. This illusion of perfection imprisons millions because it convinces them that happiness lies only in a life without blemishes. But perfection is a lie. It does not exist. And chasing it is one of the most effective ways the trap steals your joy. Think about it carefully. A diamond is valued not because it is flawless, but because it is rare. A tree is admired not because it is straight, but because it has endured storms that bent it. A man or woman is respected not because they never stumble, but because they rise again after each fall. Flaws are not evidence of weakness, they are proof of humanity. They are the marks of experience, the symbols of growth, the signs that you have lived and learned. Yet perfection whispers that you must erase these marks, and in doing so, it erases your authenticity. But here is the truth. People are not drawn to your perfection, they are drawn to your realness. They are not inspired by the image you polish, but by the courage you show in being genuine. This is why the pursuit of perfection breeds such emptiness. You can never meet its standard. The bar will always move, the ideal will always shift, and in the process you will never feel enough. It is like chasing the horizon. You can walk 1,000 miles and never arrive. But once you abandon the illusion, once you accept the truth that imperfection is part of life, a strange thing happens. You feel lighter. You feel free. You discover that happiness does not depend on being flawless. It depends on being authentic. Write this law and repeat it. I do not need to be perfect to be worthy. Say it aloud and let it echo inside you. I do not need to be perfect to be worthy. The perfection trap often hides behind comparison. You see someone who seems to live flawlessly, and you measure yourself against that illusion. You say, they have it all together. Why don't I? But what you do not see are their hidden flaws, their quiet battles, their silent fears. No one escapes them. Every person you admire carries scars you cannot see. Every hero has stumbled. Every giant has fallen at least once. The difference is not in avoiding flaws, it is in learning to stand tall in spite of them. Do not envy the man who looks perfect. Envy the man who has failed, suffered, endured, and still rises with courage, for he is the one who has discovered the true meaning of strength. So how do you protect yourself from the perfection trap? By practicing honesty, first with yourself, then with others. Each morning, instead of asking, how can I appear perfect today, ask, how can I be real today? Realness is where your power lies. When you are honest about your struggles, you connect with others. When you admit your flaws, you find freedom. When you allow yourself to be human, you create space for growth. And the irony is this: when you stop trying to look perfect, you actually become stronger. Your confidence deepens, your relationships become richer, and your happiness becomes untouchable. Perfection also disguises itself as procrastination. How many dreams have been delayed? How many talents have been buried? Simply because someone said, it's not ready yet. I am not ready yet. I must wait until it is perfect. And so they wait, and the dream dies in silence. If you wait for perfection, you will wait forever. You must begin before you feel ready. You must act before it looks perfect. For progress is messy. Growth is imperfect. Success is built not on flawless execution, but on relentless persistence. Write this declaration: I choose progress over perfection. Speak it until it becomes part of you. I choose progress over perfection. Consider the lives of great innovators, leaders, and creators. Their first attempts were often clumsy, their beginnings unpolished, their early steps awkward, but they did not wait for perfection. They moved, they acted, they learned, and in the process they discovered greatness. Do not let the silent trap convince you that imperfection disqualifies you. It qualifies you, it makes you relatable. It makes you resilient, it makes you human, and in being human you are already worthy. So here is a practice for tonight. Take out a piece of paper and write down 3 flaws you often hide. Beside each one, write what that flaw has taught you. Perhaps your failures taught you resilience. Perhaps your scars taught you compassion. Perhaps your delays taught you patience. Do this and you will see clearly your flaws are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They are not chains. They are keys. And once you embrace them, the silent trap of perfection will lose its grip. Understand this law. Happiness is not found in perfection. It is found in authenticity. The man who chases perfection is always restless. The man who embraces authenticity is always free. Say it aloud. Write it down. Let it guide you. Happiness is authenticity, not perfection. Live by this and you will step out of the trap forever. You will stop performing and start living. You will stop chasing illusions and start embracing truth, and that truth will bring you peace. But there is yet another form the silent trap takes, and it is one so insidious that many never escape it. It is the trap of living for the approval of others. Deep inside, many people are not chasing their own dreams at all. They are chasing the applause, the validation, the acceptance of those around them. They make choices not because they believe in them, but because they fear judgment if they do not. They study careers their parents prefer, they buy houses their neighbors will admire, they post pictures designed for likes, and they speak words carefully polished to offend no one. In the process, they bury their true selves under layers of performance. They live lives that belong not to them, but to the expectations of the crowd, and though the world may applaud them, their hearts remain empty. This is the silent trap of approval, and it steals happiness as surely as chains steal freedom. Think of the weight of this burden. To live for the approval of others is to hand them the keys to your peace. It means your confidence rises and falls with their reactions. If they smile, you feel worthy. If they frown, you feel small. If they cheer, you feel alive. If they criticize, you feel crushed. No man or woman can be free under such conditions, for their entire being becomes a puppet pulled by the strings of public opinion. But here is the liberating truth. You do not need permission to live your own life. You do not need applause to validate your worth. Approval is not oxygen. You can live without it. And when you finally release the need for it, you will discover a joy more stable than the shifting moods of people. The hunger for approval is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of standing alone. But look at history and you will see the opposite is true. The men and women who shaped the world were rarely the most approved. They were often ridiculed, dismissed, resisted, and misunderstood. Yet because they followed their own conviction, they left a legacy. Socrates was condemned. Galileo was mocked. Abraham Lincoln was hated by half his nation. But they did not surrender to the trap of approval. They lived by principle, not popularity. They chose conviction over comfort. And in the end, the world followed them. If they had lived for approval, we would not remember their names. If you wish to live free, you must learn this law. Popularity is temporary. Principle is eternal. Write it, say it, live it. But the trap persists because it feels safe. To conform is easy. To seek applause is tempting. To stand alone feels terrifying. Yet the paradox is this: the more you chase approval, the less you receive it. People may cheer for the image you project, but deep down they do not respect it. They respect the man who is authentic. They admire the woman who is true to herself. Approval that is begged for is shallow, but respect that is earned by conviction is deep. Which would you rather have? Applause that fades in a moment, or respect that endures for a lifetime? This is the question you must ask yourself each time you feel tempted to please the crowd. So how do you break free? The answer begins with courage. Each day choose one small action that aligns with your convictions, even if it displeases others. Speak the truth gently but firmly. Say no when you must. Follow your own vision even when misunderstood. Each act of courage builds strength. Each step away from approval builds freedom. And soon you will find that happiness does not come from the applause outside, it comes from the alignment inside. Here is a practice for tonight. Write down one decision you made recently out of fear of disapproval. Then write how you would have chosen differently if you were not afraid. Commit to living that way tomorrow. That is how you train yourself to live free of the trap. And remember this: people's opinions change as swiftly as the wind. The same crowd that cheers you today may curse you tomorrow. The same friend who praises you now may envy you later. If your happiness depends on their voices, you will never rest. But if your happiness depends on your own integrity, nothing can disturb you. This is why I urge you to build your life on principles, not popularity, on truth, not applause, on conviction, not fear. Write this law in bold letters where you will see it daily. I live for principle, not approval. Say it aloud until it feels natural. I live for principle, not approval. There is also a deeper danger in living for approval. You begin to forget who you are. In chasing their expectations, you silence your own voice. In pleasing them, you betray yourself. And when you betray yourself long enough, you forget how to hear your own calling. The silent trap then does not only steal happiness, it steals identity. It leaves you hollow, defined only by others. This is why so many people reach middle age and wonder, whose life have I been living? The moment of awakening comes, but it comes with regret. Do not wait until then. Break free now. Live your life, not theirs. Answer your calling, not their expectations. Understand this. Happiness is the natural result of alignment. When your inner values and outer actions agree, you feel peace. When they conflict, you feel turmoil. Approval may bring a temporary high, but alignment brings lasting joy. Which will you choose? Every day you must decide, do I seek to be applauded or do I seek to be aligned? The crowd will always offer you the easy road, but your soul will always call you toward the higher one. Choose alignment. Choose principle. Choose freedom. So let this be your declaration. I release the need for approval. I trust my inner voice. I live in alignment with my values. Write it, speak it, post it where you will see it. And each time you feel the temptation to perform for others, repeat this law until the temptation fades. For when you no longer need approval, you become untouchable. And in that untouchability lies true happiness, unshaken by the voices of men, rooted in the eternal truth of your own soul. But there is a form of the silent trap, more subtle than perfection and more corrosive than the hunger for approval. It is the trap of comparison with your own past and your imagined future. Millions spend their days haunted by the ghost of who they used to be, or tormented by the vision of who they think they should already be. They look back at mistakes, regrets, missed chances, and allow those memories to shackle them with shame. Or they look forward with anxiety, measuring themselves against an idealized version of themselves that exists only in imagination, and they say, "By now I should be more, by now I should be further." And so they live in a constant state of conflict with themselves, never satisfied with yesterday, never at peace with today, never prepared for tomorrow. This is one of the cruelest traps of all, for it disguises itself as ambition while slowly devouring the soul. Consider how often you revisit the past. You replay conversations that cannot be changed. You revisit choices you cannot undo. You dwell on failures that are finished. And yet, each time you do, you give them new power. You resurrect what should be buried. You allow dead weight to pull you down. The past has one purpose: to teach. Once the lesson is learned, it should be released. To carry it longer is to chain yourself to a corpse. But the silent trap whispers, keep looking back, keep punishing yourself, and many obey, never realizing that looking back too long blinds them to the opportunities before them. The law is clear, your past explains you, but it does not define you. Write this down, say it aloud. Your past explains you, but it does not define you. The other half of the trap lies in the future. You project yourself into a version of life not yet lived, and you measure yourself against it. You say, by 30 I should be here, by 40 I should have that. By now I should already be everything I dreamed. But what happens when reality does not match the vision? Anxiety, frustration, self-hatred. You feel as though you are failing, not because you are truly failing, but because you are comparing your reality to a fantasy. No man can win against an illusion. No woman can stand against a mirage, and yet millions continue to play this unwinnable game. They measure the unfinished journey against a finished picture, and in doing so they guarantee unhappiness. But here lies the truth few understand. The present moment is all you will ever possess. Yesterday is memory. Tomorrow is imagination. Only today is real. Only today is within your grasp. If you learn to master today, the past will lose its grip and the future will unfold with grace. Happiness cannot be postponed to some imagined milestone. It must be chosen now. This is why comparison with your past or future is so destructive. It steals you from the only place happiness can exist, which is here, in this moment. Write this law, I live in the present. Speak it, own it, declare it each morning. I live in the present. Now let us speak of how to practice this law. Begin with stillness. Take a few minutes each day to sit quietly, without distraction, without noise, and simply breathe. In those breaths, remind yourself, I am here, I am alive, I am enough. This practice of presence cuts the cord of regret and the chain of anxiety. It anchors you in reality. It makes you alert to the blessings around you, and it teaches you that happiness is not hidden in what has been or what might be. It is hidden in what is. Alongside stillness, practice gratitude for this day specifically, not for what you once had, not for what you hope to have, but for what is here, right now. Gratitude for the simplest things, the sound of the wind, the warmth of sunlight, the chance to begin again. Of course, your mind will resist. It will say, but what about the future? Don't I need goals? Don't I need vision? Yes, you need goals. Yes, you need vision. But they are not meant to torment you, they are meant to guide you. Goals are like the stars above a sailor. They give direction, but the sailor still sails one wave at a time. If he stares too long at the horizon, he will miss the wind in his sails. So too with you. Keep your vision, but anchor your joy in the wave before you. Anchor it in the task of today. Anchor it in this step, this breath, this moment. That is how you move forward without losing peace. There is also a lie hidden in this trap, the lie that your best days are behind you. Many grow older and whisper, I peaked already. My chances are gone, the window is closed. But that is an illusion born of regret. The truth is that as long as you are breathing, your best days are ahead. Experience is not loss, it is investment. Scars are not limits, they are credentials. You are not weaker with age, you are stronger with wisdom. Do not compare your present self to a younger self who knew less. Compare yourself only to the man or woman you were yesterday, and if today you are wiser, calmer, truer, then you are winning. So here is your practice for tonight. On one side of a paper, write 3 regrets you often revisit. On the other side, write the lessons they taught you. Then tear the page in half and burn or discard the side with regrets. Keep only the lessons. This is a symbolic act, but a powerful one. It reminds you that the past must serve you, not shackle you. Then write one vision you hold for the future, and beside it write the step you can take today that moves you closer. This transforms the future from anxiety into action. Do this consistently, and the silent trap will lose its grip. Understand this law. Happiness is not in the past or the future, it is in the present, fully lived. The man who lives in yesterday is haunted. The man who lives in tomorrow is anxious. But the man who lives in today is free. Say it aloud, write it down, make it your anchor. I choose the present over past regrets and future anxiety. And once you live by this law, you will find that the silent trap of time itself can no longer steal your happiness, for you will be rooted in the only place joy can ever be, here, now, today. But the silent trap has yet another disguise, and it is perhaps the most dangerous of all because it feels like safety. It is the trap of comfort. Millions of men and women lose their happiness not because of failure, not because of rejection, not because of comparison, but because they slowly fall asleep in the arms of comfort. They stop striving, they stop stretching, they stop daring. They say, I am fine where I am. Why risk? Why grow? And so day by day their fire dims, their vision shrinks, and their spirit weakens. Comfort promises peace, but it delivers stagnation. It lulls you into thinking you are safe, while secretly it steals your potential, your vitality, and your joy. And make no mistake, comfort is not neutral. It is an enemy dressed as a friend. Think about the nature of comfort. A soft bed is pleasant for rest, but lie in it too long and your body stiffens. A safe routine is useful for structure, but repeat it too often and your mind dulls. A steady job is noble for stability, but cling to it without growth and your soul hungers. Comfort in moderation is rest. Comfort as a lifestyle is decay. This is why so many people feel empty even when nothing is wrong. They are not in crisis. They are not in chaos. They are simply comfortable. And comfort, though it feels like peace, robs them of meaning. The law is clear. Growth is the price of happiness, and comfort is its enemy. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Growth is the price of happiness, and comfort is its enemy. The trap of comfort often hides in phrases like, I'm too old to change, it's too late to start, why bother trying? But these are excuses, not truths. The oak tree does not stop growing because it has lived many years. The river does not stop flowing because it has traveled many miles. Life itself is growth, and the moment you stop growing, you begin to wither. This is why comfort is so dangerous. It convinces you to stop before your story is complete. It convinces you to shrink when you are meant to expand. And millions accept this lie, trading their happiness for the illusion of ease. But here is the paradox. Happiness is not found in ease. It is found in effort. It is not found in sitting still. It is found in striving forward. The runner feels joy not at the starting line, but in the race. The artist feels joy not in the blank canvas, but in the act of creation. The student feels joy not in ignorance, but in the discovery of truth. Effort gives meaning, and meaning gives happiness. When you withdraw from effort, you withdraw from joy. So if you feel empty, ask yourself, am I truly unhappy or am I simply too comfortable? More often than not, the answer is the latter. To escape this trap, you must embrace discomfort as a teacher. Discomfort is not punishment, it is proof that you are alive. It is the stretching of your capacity, the forging of your strength, the sharpening of your mind. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand who you are, you grow, and with that growth comes a deeper, steadier happiness that comfort can never provide. Tonight, choose one small discomfort deliberately. Take a cold shower, speak to a stranger, attempt a skill you fear. It need not be grand. It need only be enough to remind your spirit that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are growing. But here's the resistance you will face. Comfort will whisper, why bother? You are fine where you are, and the truth is, you are not fine. You are stuck, and stuck is not living. Stuck is dying slowly. Each day you surrender to comfort, you shrink a little more. Each time you resist growth, your potential fades further. You cannot drift into greatness. You cannot slide into meaning. You must choose it. You must fight for it. You must embrace the discomfort that growth demands, for only then will you know the happiness that cannot be stolen. History proves this law. The greatest achievements, the deepest joys, the most profound lives all came through struggle. Not ease, not comfort. Struggle. The seed must push through the soil. The muscle must strain against resistance. The diamond must endure pressure. And the soul must walk through challenge. Without discomfort, there is no depth. Without struggle, there is no strength. Without growth, there is no happiness. Remember this and write it down. Discomfort is the doorway to joy. Say it aloud until it becomes instinct. Discomfort is the doorway to joy. So here is your practice. At the end of each week, ask yourself, what did I do this week that stretched me? What discomfort did I embrace? If the answer is nothing, understand that you are drifting into the trap. But if you can list 1, 2, 3 moments where you chose growth over ease, then know that you are alive, that you are progressing, that you are free. For happiness is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of growth, and growth is always uncomfortable. But the discomfort is worth it, always. Let this be your declaration now. I embrace discomfort. I grow stronger each day. I choose growth over comfort. Write it, speak it, repeat it until it reshapes your instincts. For when you live by this law, the silent trap of comfort can no longer seduce you. You will stop seeking ease, and you will start seeking growth. And in that seeking, you will discover a happiness deeper than fleeting pleasure, a happiness rooted in meaning, forged in effort, and unshakable in the storms of life. But the silent trap has one final disguise, and it is the most universal of all. It is the trap of fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. These fears whisper constantly, shaping decisions, narrowing horizons, and shrinking lives. Most people do not even realize how much fear dictates their choices. They think they are being practical, when in truth they are being paralyzed. They think they are being cautious, when in truth they are being controlled. Fear steals happiness not because of what it does, but because of what it prevents. It prevents you from living fully, from daring greatly, from experiencing the richness of life. Fear does not need to strike loudly. It only needs to whisper often enough until you obey without question. Think about how many dreams lie buried because of fear. A business never started because someone said, "What if I fail?" A book never written because someone whispered, "What if they laugh?" A love never pursued because someone trembled, "What if I am rejected?" And so entire lives are wasted not because of what was done, but because of what was never attempted. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever could. Failure at least teaches. Failure at least builds strength. Fear teaches nothing. Fear builds nothing. Fear simply steals in silence until a man wakes one day and realizes he has lived half a life. That is the true danger. Not pain, not loss, but emptiness. But here lies the truth few ever grasp. Fear is not real in the way you think it is. Fear is a projection. It is your imagination painting pictures of disasters that have not happened. It is your mind rehearsing pain that may never come. It is your thoughts creating monsters in the dark that disappear when the light of action is turned on. Fear is imagination misused. And once you understand this, fear begins to lose its hold. The law is clear. Fear is only as powerful as your obedience. Write it down. Say it aloud. Fear is only as powerful as your obedience. So how do you escape this final trap? By action. Not by waiting until the fear disappears, because it rarely does. Not by reasoning with it endlessly, because it only grows, but by moving anyway. Fear cannot survive motion. Each step forward shrinks it. Each act of courage weakens it. Each decision made in spite of it builds a new pattern of strength in your mind. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of fear. And the man who learns this law becomes unstoppable. For once you realize you can act afraid and still win, fear no longer controls you. You rise above it, you use it, you turn it into fuel. There will always be fears. New levels of life bring new risks, new unknowns, new doubts. But that is not a reason to retreat, it is a reason to expand. The mountain climber still feels fear at great heights, but he climbs. The speaker still feels fear before the crowd, but she speaks. The leader still feels fear of failure, but he leads. Fear does not disappear, but it loses its power when you refuse to bow, and with each refusal, your confidence grows, your happiness strengthens, your life expands. You cannot erase fear, but you can master it. That mastery is freedom. Here is your practice. Tonight, write down one fear that has kept you from moving forward. Then write the smallest step you could take tomorrow in spite of that fear. Commit to doing it, no matter how small. If you fear speaking, introduce yourself to one new person. If you fear failing, try once anyway. If you fear rejection, share an idea regardless. Do not wait for courage to arrive. Create it by acting. And each small victory will build momentum until fear no longer feels like a wall, but like a shadow you can walk through. Understand this. The opposite of fear is not bravery. It is faith. Faith that life is larger than the moment. Faith that your worth does not vanish with mistakes. Faith that the unknown carries not just danger but also opportunity. When you choose faith over fear, happiness flows naturally, because faith expands while fear contracts. Faith opens while fear closes. Faith creates while fear destroys. This is why every man and woman who has ever lived fully did so by walking through fear armed with faith. So let this be your final declaration in this journey of breaking free from the silent trap. I walk through fear with faith. I act even when afraid. I am free to live fully. Say it aloud now. Write it down and keep it close. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. For when you live by this law, no trap can bind you, no comparison can weaken you, no comfort can seduce you, no fear can silence you. You will have discovered the truth that happiness is not stolen from you by outside forces. It is surrendered in silence, and once you refuse to surrender it, your happiness will remain yours, unshakable, untouchable, eternal.